The rougher the waters, the higher the price of the fish. There are many tricks behind sky-high price modified watches. Hello everyone, this is Dabao, your professional watch advisor. Be cautious with modifications. If you don't have a sharp eye, don't easily challenge your own understanding. Today I'll be giving you a detailed explanation about this sky-high priced king of watches that many enthusiasts are familiar with, the 5712/1R Rose Gold Moon Phase Nautilus. Before we get into the main topic, let me first share two cases with you. The first case is about a P 324 movement that was modified using a 315 from Ballon, which I previously made a dedicated video about. Many watch enthusiasts may have already seen that video. This kind of back and forth operation directly reduced the cost by 8,000 yuan. However, many watch authentication agencies only verify the authenticity of the movement itself and won't tell you what parts have been modified, because those parts are also genuine. So in order to avoid taking responsibility, authentication agencies only determine authenticity and don't go into too much detail. This is something everyone needs to be aware of. The second example is the one I'm showing you today, a 572 that has been modified with an original dual P240 movement. Currently, most of the 5712/1R Nautilus Moon Phase multifunction watches that are being modified on the market have configurations basically identical to the one I'm showing you now. It uses a two-hand dual P240 movement that is directly taken and modified. On the base of this two-hand movement, a power reserve module and a moon phase module are added. Why use this movement for modification? Because to perfectly match the movement of the 5712/1R, the only relatively suitable option we can choose is an older Geneva model like the 5050G. However, the movement from this kind of watch, even a second-hand one, costs around 160,000 yuan and is quite hard to get. After modifying the entire watch, plus an 18-karat gold case, replacement dial, hands, and moon phase, the total price of the whole watch could reach as high as 300,000 yuan. The cost is just too high. But now, by using a well-preserved double P240 movement for the modification, first of all, the texture and details of its movement plate are quite close to the original 240 movement of the 5712, so the quality is very consistent. That's the first point. Secondly, we can add a module to the two-hand 240 movement, so that its functions can also closely match the original configuration. Currently, there are some peers in the market who use this kind of movement and directly sell it as the original 240 moon phase movement with power reserve function. However, the cost difference can be over 100,000 yuan. Even when sent to authentication agencies, they will still determine this movement as a genuine 240 movement, because the 240 movement has served the PP brand for more than 40 years. With the advancement of time and technology, its functions and texture have also undergone many changes and improvements. However, many vintage watches have functions that are actually quite different from those of the newer models. But with the support of current technology, these functional differences can be resolved, making it so that in terms of appearance and through the case back, you can't see any difference at all. This includes models currently on the market like the Perpetual Calendar 5740 and the Celestial 6104. All of these watches use the same 240 movement configuration as the one we're seeing in this video. They take an original two-hand 240 movement and add a Perpetual Calendar or a Celestial movement module to it. Yet from the case back, you still can't see any obvious difference. So I advise collectors, when choosing these higher-end, more complicated modified watches, to really do your research, ask around and compare thoroughly. Don't blindly go for a bargain. After all, this kind of practice isn't limited to the 5712. It also exists with the Perpetual Calendar 5740 and the Celestial 6104. There are significant loopholes to exploit when modifying these watches using genuine movements. Now let's get back to the main topic of the video and talk about this particular watch featured in the video. Our custom-made 18-karat gold Nautilus 5712/1R in full rose gold, which we've paired with a genuine 242-hand movement and then modified with a moon phase and power reserve module. Dabao has already reviewed this. If watch enthusiasts are interested, check out previous reviews. The retail price is 740,000 and on the secondary market it goes for 1.3 million, a million-level popular watch. There's a demand for modifications of this model. By customizing an 18-karat gold case, bracelet and clasp, along with a custom dial, moon phase and hands to enhance the details, and pairing it with an original 240 movement with double P engraving starting with the number 7, it's basically like achieving a 99% replica at just a fraction of the original price. In addition, there are now fully customized 240 movements on the market that are modified based on the toy version. Previously, Dabao also did a detailed review on this, so interested enthusiasts can go check it out. That movement is priced at over 10,000, and its overall condition in every aspect is quite good, but there is still a noticeable gap in quality compared to the original. Today, we'll mainly focus on the appearance of this watch and give everyone a brief overview, including what issues you should pay attention to if you really want to customize this watch. First, a very important issue to pay attention to is the weight. When the 572 is at its full length, its overall weight is about 195 grams. Among those in the market who do custom 18K gold cases, the weight range they achieve is generally between 180 grams and 200 grams. There's quite a bit of variation, and each maker's result is genuinely a bit different. The overall weight of our watch is made to be 190 grams, and each individual watch may fluctuate by about 5 grams more or less, which is completely normal. Moreover, the original versions from different years also have slight differences in weight, so it's good to be aware of these issues, but there's no need to pay excessive attention to them. Next is the size. The diameter of this type of watch is 40 millimeters and the thickness is 8.52 millimeters. We must strictly follow the specifications of the original version when presenting these dimensions, because any difference in size will directly result in differences in appearance, texture, and weight. As for the details of the dial, it is a deep brown color with a subtle sunburst pattern, creating a very gentle effect. The edges appear black, gradually becoming lighter toward the center. Additionally, taking the center axis as the focal point, the entire dial displays distinct color changes at different angles. The transition between the lighter and darker fan-shaped sections is extremely smooth. The sunburst brushed texture on the dial can be seen very clearly and delicately under a macro lens. It is precisely this fine texture that allows the dial to present various changes in color and texture. However, looking at the dial as a whole, its texture resembles a fine, matte finish. So, this dial's texture is truly rich, diverse, and full of layered variations. As for the printing on the power reserve indicator, whether it's 12, 24, 36, or 48, the fonts are fine, clear, and three-dimensional with a full appearance. The 4 small red dots are also extremely smooth and rounded. This includes the numbers on the moon phase dial, the second sub-dial, the CD pattern, and the track, all clear, clean, and delicate. Even the pinion has been crafted to be very smooth and rounded. The substitute hands have no burrs at all and are polished to be smooth and full. There are 2 fewer positions on the regulation scale, and the 2 regulation points are vertically centered and perfectly aligned with very even gaps. The adjustment at the 6 o'clock position is half raised and half lowered, and it is in a very smooth and full state. I've also put up a comparison image of our custom moon phase and the original moon phase on the public screen for everyone to take a look at. Both have a very full, grainy texture, and the stars and moon both have a very three-dimensional feel. Another point is the end link issue. Our end link size allows for interchangeability with the original case, and we've made it with a movable end link effect. Most of the end links on 18-karat gold cases currently on the market are basically fixed and cannot achieve this kind of slight floating effect, whereas our floating effect is almost identical to the original, including on this side as well. Both have a movable end link effect, including the range of movement of the gap on the back of the end link, as well as the distance from the edge of the end link to the edge of the case. These details are handled just right. These are all details we need to pay attention to when customizing 18-karat gold watch cases. Finally, regarding the details we've done on the clasp, first, the Calatrava cross. It has a finely brushed texture on the bottom and it's rounded and full. Not thin or sharp, but rather plump, just like a chubby person. I also found 2 pictures of authentic clasps showing the texture and details of the Calatrava cross and attached them on the screen for everyone to compare. In addition, there is also a picture of the details of a clasp customized by someone else, which I've also attached for you all to compare. The details of the clasp are smooth and full with a distinct fine matte texture. The upper and lower parts of the clasp fit together very precisely. There is no misalignment and they line up perfectly. That's all for today's discussion about this watch. If you're interested in more, feel free to follow the channel, join the conversation in the comments section, or message me directly for a more in-depth discussion. Finally, I've included the luminous effect at the end of the video so everyone can see how the custom dragon dial glows in the dark. The effect is excellent, with a high degree of authenticity. See you in the next episode.